And welcome to the Rick House. My name is Cyrus Farmer, and you are watching and listening to the Stomp the Tee podcast. Folks, we have so much ground to cover tonight. I want to tell you exactly what we're going to be getting into. First and foremost, obviously, we're going to be talking about last week's U.S. Open that occurred out at Oakmont Country Club. Interesting event. We will also be talking about the NBA Finals. Wow, and what a finals it has been. And certainly last, but certainly not least, we will also be delving into everyone's favorite segment. What are you drinking tonight? So, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into this program tonight, folks. The first thing I would like to do is congratulate JJ Spaun on winning this year's U.S. Open. Uh, JJ played so well at the Players' Championship this past year. Now, even though he lost in a playoff to Rory McIlroy, he deserved to be rewarded for not only his play at the Players' Championship, but he's had a good year, generally speaking. He's played some good golf, and I was very happy to see him walk away with the title, with the trophy, with the championship. I wasn't sure he was actually going to win. I went into the week thinking, obviously, it was Scheffler's to win or lose, like most people. And I do have to say, JJ got off to a fast start. He had that bogey-free 66. And to his credit, he held up. Even on Thursday, I'm sorry, Thursday was the opening round. Friday, he didn't shoot a 66, but I think he shot a 70 or 71. So he hung in there. Same thing on Saturday. And then obviously on Sunday, he got off to a horrendous start. Um, and for him to bounce back like he did really showed a lot of guts and perseverance. And I was just very happy for him to win it. Could not have happened to a nicer guy. I just started hearing about JJ Spaun during the Players' Championship. So he's new to me, but I like what I see, and I was happy for his win. Now, I do have to tell you, I know the rain delay was a little bit of a bother for folks who were trying to actually watch the tournament. Um, but to me, it was a little bit different. I have to say, the rain delay actually helped me celebrate Father's Day in a much more, let's say, hospitable fashion. Father's Day, as so many of you know, is one of those days when you can pretty much do anything you want if you are the honoree, if you're the father. You can go play golf, you can hang out with friends, you can spend it with family, you can go on a trip with buddies, whatever. It's Father's Day, you kind of get a pass, do whatever you like. But for me, I have to say, my family worked so hard to celebrate me on Father's Day that oftentimes I like to try to repay them when I can with my both attention and presence. So instead of playing golf this year, I kind of kicked it around the house earlier in the day, watched the start of the U.S. Open, got to the point where I saw the leaders tee off, play a couple holes, and then I went out to the bookstore with my wife, the lovely Donna Farmer. She is the love of my life. And she and I went to the bookstore. We had a good time, looked at some things, picked up a couple books. It was great. Came back here, spent the rest of the late afternoon with our second child, Rohan, who is back home, and did dinner, opened Father's Day gifts. And I still, because of the rain delay, had time to watch like the last 3 or 4 holes of the finish. It was awesome. So the rain delay actually really helped me not only give back to my loved ones who took the time and the effort to be thoughtful enough to give me gifts and celebrate me on Father's Day, but also got to do some of the things that I like to do as well, which is namely watch the US Open, which was absolutely great. Now, I do have to tell you, as far as Oakmont as a course is concerned, I don't know. I'm a little, I don't want to say down on Oakmont, but I'll put it like this. If I were to become a member of Oakmont Country Club, uh, not that I would ever be invited, let's say, but let's just play with a hypothetical. If I were to become a member, I was invited, I chose to become a member, I paid the membership fee, the initiation fee, whatever. I don't know that I would want to play a course that is that hard, allegedly, day in, day out as my home course. I'm just not sure that I would like the privilege of paying tens of thousands of dollars to get my butt kicked every time I go out to play a round of golf at the club. Now, I get it. Most golfers at Oakmont, I would assume, are outstanding golfers. And it is an interesting course. Lots of elevation changes. I'm a big fan of elevation changes, up or down. Some cool holes. The church pews, obviously, is an interesting aspect that come into play on two holes. But I do have to say, I'm not sure how I would feel about having that be my home course. Now, maybe most of the members at Oakmont are such good golfers that they need the challenge of a course like Oakmont to kind of get anything out of belonging to a club. If that's the case, go crazy. More power to you. I'm really, really jealous. Great, great work. I am not a great golfer, obviously. We've talked about this ad infinitum. I'm a lousy golfer, but I play quickly and I'm wonderful company on the golf course. But that being said, I'm not sure how much I would get out of being a member at Oakmont. Now, would I play Oakmont given the opportunity? Once, twice, three times? Absolutely. I kind of want to see what the course is all about in person. But I'm not sure that I would love or rush to become a member because I'm sure the membership fee is not cheap, and you better be able kind of to defend yourself against the toughness of that course and the toughness that course presents to any golfer if you're going to pay X amount of dollars year in, year out to be a member at Oakmont. Again, I'm sure the members there are wonderful golfers, so for them, it's great. For me, I'd rather play as a guest. I'll save the membership fee. Nothing against the course, though. Great course. So, uh, we talked about the start that JJ found himself in on Sunday. I think he had his first four holes or first five holes. He scored all fives. Couple bogeys, three bogeys, a couple bogeys, a par, double bogey. I mean, he just got off to a horrendous start, and he had some incredibly bad breaks. A couple, I think, on consecutive holes, 2 and 3. Um, but he hung in there, he persevered, and he ended up winning the tournament anyway. And you know, it's so much like life. Golf, 18 holes always tells the tale, just like 72 holes tells the tale of a tournament. Um, you can have a hot round, you can have a lousy round, but over 72 holes, a tournament is usually going to reveal the best player that week. And what I like so much about what JJ did was he not only hung in there, but he executed down the stretch after such a tough start. Um, I don't know how many of you watched the post game. There was an interview of JJ Spaun after winning the U.S. Open, and he told this story that I thought was absolutely fascinating. Some of you have heard the story. I happened to see it live because I watched the post tournament coverage, and I want to read this to you because JJ Spaun tells this story about something Tiger Woods told Max Homa that Max Homa told JJ Spaun. I'm going to read it so I get this right. Um, the quote was, this is JJ Spaun speaking. I was having lunch with Max Homa at home. He was telling me a tiger story where he was like, this is Max Homa speaking. As long as you just like are still there, you don't have to do anything crazy, especially at a US Open. He, Homa, is like, Tiger said this would happen and that the wind will switch, but you've just got to stay there. Even if you're four back, you just got to stay there. You don't have to do anything crazy. JJ continues. I was kind of thinking about that there this afternoon, where I was four back, maybe going back out after the delay, and then I made some good pars. Nothing crazy. And then the next thing you know, I'm like tied for the lead, I think, and within 4 holes of the restart. That just kind of goes back to that. Like, you just try to stay there. You don't have to do anything crazy, especially at a US Open. All those things came true. End quote. Folks, I got to tell you, that is a tremendous story and anecdote by JJ Spaun about something Tiger Woods told Max Homa. And I think it's a wonderful mindset. I mean, look, we all know sometimes in life, you have to force the issue, right? You have to get out of your comfort zone. You have to do things you wouldn't necessarily do. Sometimes you have to take risks that you wouldn't normally take because the circumstances call for more aggressive approaches. But there's also something to be said for, letting things be and waiting things out. I mean, that sometimes is just as important as forcing the issue. Now, the beauty of life is having the wisdom to know when to do which. That is the secret to life, folks. Just remember that. But I thought it was just a wonderful story. And the fact that Max Homa could relate that story to him a few months earlier back in California. And JJ would think about that after the tough start he had on Sunday and go on to win the US Open. Kudos to him. That was absolutely fantastic. All right. So at this point, folks, I would be remiss not to remind you that you should tell everyone that you know how much you enjoy the Stomp the Tee podcast. Tell your friends, tell your enemies. We are here for you week in, week out. This is the kind of content you cannot get or find anywhere else online because why? It is creative. It is original. It is not someone else's opinion. It is my own. And I happen to be a pretty original thinker. So, you're welcome. Stomp the Tee. Spread the word. Okay. While I was watching the US Open, like most people who are watching, I could not stop thinking and watching Adam Scott. I mean, I thought Adam played well the first 3 rounds of the tournament. He hung in there, hung in there, hung in there. But I do think Sunday he just couldn't get anything going. And I think he was pressing a little bit, which is unfortunate. I think he probably got a little impatient. And as a result, essentially played his way out of the tournament through some horrendous weather stretches, without question. But everyone had to play through the same weather. So what are you going to do? But it did start me down a path. I started thinking about Adam Scott. Throughout the broadcast, so many of the announcers and broadcasters, people covering the U.S. Open, kept referring to Adam Scott and his near Hall of Fame career. They basically made it sound like he is very close to being inducted into the World Golf Hall of Famer. And if he could win a second major, he would be a lock for the Hall of Fame. Right now, he's kind of on the bubble, according to them. And it got me thinking, who is the best golfer in history to have won only one major? Now, look, do not get me wrong. One major is so much better than no majors. Ask anybody who does not have one, who's a pro golfer. Ricky Fowler, for example, right? You ask David Duval if he would give his major back. Absolutely not. Even though he only won one, he cherishes the fact that he actually won one. So anyone who wins a major, whether you're David Duval, former number one in the world, or whether you're Y.E. Yang or Rich Beam, who kind of just came out of nowhere and fell back into oblivion, winning a major is a big, big deal and should never, ever be taken for granted. So, this list that I'm about to read you is actually a celebration of people who were able to break through. You don't think Rocco Mediate, as much traction as he's gotten out of losing to Tiger Woods at the 2008 U.S. Open in Torrey Pines, you don't think he would give all of that traction back to have won that U.S. Open? You're crazy if you don't think that. He would give his entire career away, I think, to have won that U.S. Open. That's how important winning a major is, because it's very hard to do. Now, I'm going to read this list of golfers that I kind of put together, and I think these are kind of the prime suspects, the main candidates of golfers that I would consider, in my opinion, were the best golfers in the history of golf to have only won one major. And again, only is not a disparaging qualification. All right. These are in no particular order. Sergio Garcia. We all know Sergio, right? 11 PGA wins, won a British Amateurs Players Champion. Sergio also has 28.5 Ryder Cup points. He's the most successful Ryder Cupper from the European side, in the history of the event. Sergio's always been unbelievable in the Ryder Cup. And it'll be interesting to see if Luke Donald decides to put any live golfers on this year's Ryder Cup being played at Bethpage Black, because he's going to need some hardy competitors, because that New York crowd is going to be, let's say, rough at a minimum on the European side. So he's going to need some people who have some pretty thick skin. Who has thicker skin than Sergio Garcia? Who knows? But Sergio, obviously, only the one win, the Masters. Tom Weiskopf. Tom had 16 PGA wins. He had 4 second-place finishes at the Masters. Tom Weiskopf was a staple in the 1970s. He was right beneath the Jack Nicklauses, the Gary Players, the Tom Watsons. He was probably around the same as like a 70s version of Billy Casper. So Tom Weiskopf was a very, very established player, very successful player. Again, 16 wins on the PGA Tour. It's nothing to sneeze at. Tom Kite, another candidate. He has 19 PGA Tour wins. He is also a Players Champion. Tom Kite, I was never overly impressed with Tom Kite as a golfer, but there's no denying the amount of success he had. I mean, again, 19 wins on the PGA Tour does not happen by just registering for a tournament. You have to play very well. Of course, the aforementioned Adam Scott. What's Adam's resume? He has 14 PGA Tour wins. He is a Players Champion as well. And he's a former number one player in the world, which, again, like winning a major, getting to number one in the world is an accomplishment that not many golfers get a chance to achieve. And whether you're number one for 380 weeks, like Tiger, whatever the number is, or you're number one for 1 week in your entire career, if you get to number one, it is a big deal and it counts. Phil Mickelson, as great a career as he has had, he's won over 40 plus tournaments, 5 majors. Because of the era he played in, he never made it to number one in the world rankings. Now, there are a number of golfers who were in the Tiger era who did make it to number one. Vijay Singh, David Duval, Adam Scott, to name a few. So I don't know why Phil never got to number one. Honestly, I don't. But it's kind of a strange factoid because there are other golfers who managed to do it while Tiger was in his prime, and even when Tiger wasn't in his prime, but still returned to number one. Somehow Phil never got that. Strange. Justin Rose. Look, Justin Rose, wonderful golfer. 11 PGA wins, the FedEx Cup title winner. He won an Olympic gold medal. Excuse me. Justin Rose also is a former number one player in the world. I believe he's also the British amateur champion as well. Who could forget his debut at the Open Championship, where he had a chance to actually win it as an amateur on Sunday. So Justin Rose is in the conversation. Fred Couples. Boom, boom, right? Freddie Couples, I will never figure out Fred Couples' career. Sweet swing. I know he had back problems, but 15 PGA Tour wins, 2 Players Championships, former number one in the world, obviously winner of the 1992 Masters. How Fred Couples does not win a second, third, or fourth major is completely beyond me, because there was a time when he was a very, 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 very good golfer. Dominant? Who knows? But we all know how good Fred was. I'm surprised he only won that one major. Not a knock, I'm just surprised. Next golfer, Davis Love III. 21 PGA Tour wins and 2 Players Championships. Folks, Davis Love III was kind of as milquetoast a golfer as you're ever going to see. Now, when I say milquetoast, what do I mean by that? I mean a guy, in my opinion, who wasn't actually going to scratch the record when he lifted the needle off the record in the record player. He was just kind of there. He was kind of like watching paint dry. Not a negative. He just wasn't the most exciting player in the world, in my opinion. But there is no denying his success. Again, 2 Players Championships, 21 wins. Obviously, he won a PGA Championship, I believe, late in his career. There's also Jim Furyk. Jim Furyk is kind of an interesting case. He has 17 PGA wins, won a U.S. Open, obviously. He's a FedEx Cup champion. And Jim Furyk, interesting fact, he shot the lowest score in the history of a PGA Tour event, which was 58. Additionally, he also shot in a tour event a 59, making him the only man in golf history to ever break 60 twice on the PGA Tour. That's a pretty big accomplishment. And I have to say, for that reason, I probably have to go with Jim Furyk out of all the golfers we've just mentioned. Jim was a very dogged competitor, no nonsense, unique swing. Certainly, his swing was his own. No one imitated it. But he was always a very fierce competitor and did very little to give tournaments away. Sometimes he didn't make putts when he needed to, but he didn't give tournaments away. He was always right there. And again, 17 wins? I think I probably have to go with Jim Furyk. It was really weird. This list, and there are a ton of golfers who didn't make this list. But the strange thing to me about this list is that each and every one of these, especially the golfers post 2000, let's say, I swore Sergio, Adam Scott, Justin Rose, even Jim Furyk, I swore that these golfers would win 2, 3, 4, 5 majors. Different totals for each. I thought Sergio, after he broke through in the Masters, I thought he would probably go on to win 2 more majors. I thought Adam Scott, when he broke through at the Masters, would go on to win a total of 4 majors, maybe 5. Same thing with Justin Rose. I thought Justin Rose would probably go on to win 2, maybe 3 total in his career, and he's been right there. Through no fault of his own, he's just gotten beat. He got beat by Sergio at the Masters. He got beat by Roy at the Masters. I mean, he should have 2 or 3 majors right now, but he only has the one, for better or worse. So that's the thing. It kind of goes back to what I initially thought was going to happen with Rory when he won the career Grand Slam at Augusta this year. That I thought it was going to open the floodgates for him to play freely and to really become this number one rival to Scottie Scheffler, and it was going to open this great era of dominant play and tremendous competition. And it has not been the case. Rory has been so uninvolved in the outcomes of most of these tournaments, not to mention the 2 majors that have been played since winning the Masters. So it just goes to show you that breaking through is not always the entree into more success. Sometimes breaking through kind of leaves you sated in a way that it is very difficult to continue to chase subsequent success. Now, I was watching this documentary earlier this week, and it was 5 years old, right? It was the 20th anniversary of the Tiger Slam. Golf Channel did a documentary on this, and in this documentary, they talked to Steve Williams, among others, and Steve had an interesting take on this whole subject without even knowing this is a subject that you and I were going to be talking about tonight. Steve Williams said, when you talk about Tiger and the Tiger Slam, obviously that began in the 2000 season, where Tiger won the last 3 majors of the year, and it carried over into the 2001 season, where he won the first major of the year, the Masters, giving him all 4 titles simultaneously. He won 4 majors in a row over, 2 calendar sessions. So technically it's not a Grand Slam, but that's why it's called the Tiger Slam. But the point he was making is that before that 2000 season happened, and he changed his swing with Butch Harmon, and the changes were just starting to take, he talks about how important the win in 1999 was of the PGA Championship when Tiger beat Sergio, I think it was at Medina, in a really tough, hard-fought PGA Championship. And the reason Steve says that win was so important is because it was Tiger's second major. He hadn't won since the 97 Masters, another major. And having that second major, the 1999 PGA Championship, really kind of stamped Tiger as a major champion in not only the public's mind, but in Tiger's own mind himself. And Steve intimated, he didn't say this, but he intimated that sometimes the second championship, the second major, can be just as hard to win as the first one, but for different reasons. So it just goes to show you, anyone who's won 1 major has accomplished a great feat. So we don't look down on that at all here on Stomp the Tee. We celebrate you. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Now, and that includes congratulations to JJ Spaun, who may go on to win another, who knows. Now, folks, let's get into the NBA Finals. I got to tell you, it has been absolutely tremendous. I got to start this off by congratulating the Indiana Pacers for winning a Game 6 that I did not think they were going to be able to win. I had picked Oklahoma City Thunder in 6. And after Game 5, and we'll talk about Game 5 in a minute, but after the injury to Tyrese Halliburton kind of limited his play and his effectiveness, I did not think that Indiana would come out with the ability to win that game. I thought they were going to compete. I thought they were going to play well. I thought they were going to try. but I thought that they would actually run out of gas in game 6, and it was the exact opposite. They started slow, 0 for 8. And for them to win that game the way they did at home in front of their fans, going away, blowing out the Thunder, forget the final score. It was a blowout of epic proportions. Kudos to the Indiana Pacers. You cannot throw enough bouquets to that team for their effort, for what they were able to accomplish, evening the series to take us all to a game 7 this coming Sunday night. Boy, that is going to be absolutely tremendous. Now, my main question is, when we start with game 7, which Oklahoma City Thunder team is going to show up? Because we've seen a couple in this finals series. I guess you could say the same for the Pacers. It is 3-3. Let's go back to game 5 for a minute. I have to say Jalen Williams, game 5, 40 points, 23 years old. Boy, he was fantastic in that game. And it's interesting because he's young, but you can tell he has so many gifts. I can't wait to see him 2 to 3 years from now when he's an even more consistent scorer. He is going to be a handful, and who knows how long he will be on the same team as SGA, because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is a great, great player. And everyone is, it's all kumbaya right now. But sooner or later, Jalen Williams is going to want his own team. He is about to be James Harden a couple years from now, and he's going to get paid, and he's going to have his own team, and then we'll see how good Jalen Williams really is. But right now, he is very, very good. I think he's only going to get better. So he did a great job in Game 5. The other thing I wanted to talk about with Game 5 is, you heard some of the chatter about people blaming Tyrese Halliburton for the loss of the Pacers in Game 5. You can't blame Halliburton. The man was hurt. Yes, he only scored 4 points. He had no field goals, but that's largely because he was hurt. If he had been himself, he would have scored more. Now, we talked about Halliburton before, right? Halliburton, we talked about how strange it was to have this guy hit big shot after big shot, right? He's had 5 series winners throughout this postseason, apparently. And he hasn't dominated in any other category. No, he hasn't scored like 45 points a game. He hasn't given out 18 assists per game. He hasn't dominated with 23 rebounds a game. No. Tyrese Halliburton, as far as I'm concerned, is a nice player who can get you 18 points a game consistently, give you about 8-9 assists consistently. But what makes Halliburton interesting is he has the ability to take and make big, big shots consistently. He's clutch. He's just clutch, and that's who he is. So to blame him for not playing well in Game 5 and to blame him for the Pacers losing because he didn't play well is, to me, just ridiculous. The man was hurt. He was doing the best he could. Now, I do want to say, Game 5, it was the first time, and I don't know what ESPN, ABC, I don't know what they're doing, but it's the first time that I saw player introductions at the beginning of the game. Where has this been? Look, it's the NBA Finals. We should always televise player introductions for both teams. I can't remember a Bulls NBA Finals where those player introductions and the promo tape before the player introductions wasn't shown before every single game. And how about let's getting the national anthem televised as well, each and every game. Every time there's a game in a series, the national anthem is sung by a different city, different singer in one of the 2 cities. I love hearing the national anthem. Let's see what they do with the song. I hope when the NBA moves to NBC next year, that NBC makes that a staple of their coverage. Don't skip the player introductions. It's how we get juice for the game. Don't skip the national anthem. It's literally how I get juiced for the game. And if people don't get juiced for the game, they can go grab another beer or a sandwich, or it gives them time to do something, go to the bathroom before the game starts. So televise the player introductions each and every time. Televise the national anthem, please. Yeah, they did the same thing for Game 6, so maybe they're learning. I have to say, I was surprised. Last night's game, Game 6, the Thunder, in my opinion, came out with just a lack of intensity. It was very notable, and I don't know if it's because they're young, if they're immature, if they're just too cool for school. But you can't play that game if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder like you got a game to play with. No. If you're the Thunder, you needed to act like you were down 3-2 because you don't want to play a game 7. Why? Because anything can happen in a game 7, even though it's on your home court. Now, it's hard to tell the Thunder anything because they won 68 games. It's hard to tell the Thunder anything because they went through this exact same scenario against Denver, which was a tremendous team, probably a better team than the Indiana Pacers. Who knows? And blew the Denver Nuggets out at home in Game 7. So it's hard to tell the Thunder anything. And maybe they're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they know stuff that I don't know. They know themselves better than I know their team. But boy, oh boy, I just did not like the intensity level that I saw from the Thunder. Obviously, all of that changes with Game 7. We'll see who shows up, and we'll see how they show up. I would love, love, love to see Shai Gilgeous-Alexander be more aggressive. Take the ball to the basket. Force the refs to blow the whistle because they've been letting everyone play, which is great to a degree. But it's Game 7. It's the last game of the season. I don't care. Win, lose, or draw. You are not playing another game after Sunday this season. So put it all out there. Literally, force the issue. Go early and often to the basket if you're Gilgeous-Alexander. Don't wait to find your offense. Take the lead. Because if you've noticed, the shots that SGA was getting in the first, second, third game, he was getting shots any way he wanted. The fadeaway, the step back, whatever. He had so much space, even when he was in a crowd. That space has shrunk and shrunk and shrunk, so much so that Nembhard, who has done a wonderful job of defense, has made almost every single shot that SGA takes a contested shot, whether it's a fadeaway, whether it's a step back, whether it's a drive, whatever. He is so on top of him that Shai Gilgeous can't even get his shot off cleanly without, having to fight to get some space. So if you drive to the basket, you'll back these guys off. If you get more room for your shot, and you'll get that Oklahoma City Thunder offense going a little better and a little quicker. So Shai, please consider going to the basket early and often. Carry this team. You don't have to wait till the fourth quarter. I have to say that Halliburton, Game 6, he was big. Pascal Siakam, Game 6, he was big. Obviously, TJ McConnell, Obi Toppin, they were big. Indiana just played a really, really good game. They left no doubt as to who was going to win that game by literally early third quarter. So, the mystery of TJ McConnell. Folks, we all know that TJ's had a very, very, very good series. He's been nice. What do you do if you're Oklahoma City? I have a suggestion. I don't think you can let TJ McConnell, when he's on the floor, whether he's on the floor 5 minutes or 23 minutes, doesn't matter, right? He's been getting to his spots too easily. And you can't have that anymore. It's game 7, all right? And I know it sounds crazy. And I know it's TJ McConnell. But it's game 7, folks. You got to start doubling TJ McConnell when he's on the floor. Double him, trust your defense, and see if he doesn't turn over the ball. I'm telling you, you can't let him dribble through this vaunted Oklahoma City defense without losing his dribble, without turning the ball over, because he's being guarded by a single player, whoever that player is, and let him get to his spots to make a pass. Let him get to his spots to do that little step back jumper. You can't do it anymore. It's game 7, Oklahoma City. You have to start doubling TJ McConnell when he's on the floor. He's not going to play 45 minutes. When he's on the floor, double him. Get the ball out of his hands. See if he can actually pass out of the double team. I know that sounds crazy, but that is my suggestion. And you can also mix in a little zone when TJ's on the floor. See if you can actually get your hands on the ball. I do have to say, it feels like Indiana's kind of figured out the Oklahoma City defense to a degree. I'll be interested to see if more zone is played by Oklahoma City, to see if they can try to get more turnovers, because they have had a hard time turning Indiana over the last couple of games. If you're OKC, you got to have somebody besides SGA and Jalen Williams show up. I personally have given up on Chet Holmgren contributing in Game 7. Look, maybe Chet Holmgren is going to be the Jalen Williams of Game 7 versus Denver this coming Sunday against the Indiana Pacers. If he is, great. But if he's not, I can't worry about Chet Holmgren. I'll worry about him later. I need someone I can actually count on to score. And I'm not going to ice Holmgren, but I don't need to get him going to win the game. But I got to have it for somebody, whether it's Dort, whether it's Casey Williams, whether it's Wiggins. I got to have it from somebody. Got to have it for somebody. It's interesting. I'm kind of like really rooting hard for Oklahoma City. But the weird thing is, I'm not against the Indiana Pacers. I think I'll be pretty happy with whoever wins, but I want Oklahoma City to win. I should say that out loud. It'll be weird, but I think it's going to be a very dramatic game. It's going to be a great Game 7. I'm looking forward to it. The postseason for the NBA has been a home run as far as I'm concerned. Great job. Kudos. Well done, Commissioner Silver et al. Now, we are at the point in the program where I get to ask you a question. It's one of my favorite questions to ask you. What are you drinking tonight? Well, I can tell you what I'm drinking. And that is Dew Scotch whiskey. Folks, this is a single malt whiskey that I'm going to tell you a little bit about, and then I'll tell you what I think about it. It is distilled at Dew Distillery in Speyside, Scotland. It comes in at a respectable 55.8% ABV, which is 111.6 proof. It's batch strength. This particular bottle is batch 8. So it's aged in hand-selected, mostly first-fill Oloroso sherry casks. Now, I don't know what the age statement is, but it's Scotch, so I think the minimal requirement is 3 years. And I bought this bottle for $100. What do I think of it? Well, I can tell you, it's definitely a sweeter Scotch than you're used to ingesting. It's smooth, it's refined, as any great distiller will do. The whiskey in this bottle drinks, the spice level drinks below the proof. Does not taste like 111.6 proof at all. It's actually very smooth. That's why I say it's so refined. It's interesting. Do I like a sweeter version of a scotch? I don't think so, but I'm not against it. It's weird. It's actually not that bad. Now, do I like this bottle enough to pay $100 for it again? No. No, I do not. It is a good bottle. Tamdu. It's a good bottle. And it's worth having in your bar, but it's not worth stocking in your bar. Buy one bottle, see how you like it, hang on to it if you like it, hang on to it if you don't like it, right? Alcohol, it never goes bad. But I don't know that I would stock my bar with this $100 bottle, like buy 2, 3, 4 bottles, or bottle after bottle after bottle to have a bottle of this in my bar. I don't think I would. But I am glad I have this bottle now because, again, I like it. It's enjoyable. Excuse me. I'm just not looking to pay $100 a bottle for this particular product. And that is tonight's show. Folks, once again, I want to thank you all for watching. Thank you for listening. Next week, we're going to wrap up the NBA Finals and talk about what happened and what went down, so on and so forth. Folks, it is going to be a tremendous show, along with maybe a couple other topics as well. But until then, my name is Cyrus Farmer. You are watching and listening to the Stomp the Tee podcast. Thank you again for tuning in. And as always, we will see you on the first tee.